Hello and welcome to Short Bites, a Stephen King podcast. Today I'm very happy to welcome my guest, Matt Hurt, who created and hosts / produces the Obsessive Viewer movie review podcast. He also hosts the Tower Junkies podcast, which is where I mostly know him from. But Matt didn't just stop there. He's also the host of at least one other podcast called Anthology, which covers The Twilight Zone and other science fiction classics. Matt also works for and produces a wide range of content on his Patreon, which I highly recommend. Today, Matt and I will be discussing the short story, Sometimes They Come Back. This story is found in Stephen King's first collection, Night Shift, so if you want to read it and then follow along, you're more than welcome to, because we're going to be spoiling it. Welcome to the show, Matt. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, Jason. And I'm very, very flattered. I'm very honored to be here. I'm doing quite well, especially now that I got to, revisit one of my favorite Stephen King short stories, not only from Night Shift, but from his entire work. This one just speaks to me so much. So I'm very honored to be here and very happy that you have me on.
Awesome. I've been listening to your show for about 3 years now. I used to work at this job where I did like 12-hour shifts, and I was listening to podcasts way back in 2007. But I stopped when I was doing that job for about 8 years because I just didn't have the time, right?
Oh yeah.
But when I came back, your show was there, and so I listened. I binged it a lot, along with other Stephen King podcasts, and it's been a total blast.
Oh, thank you so much. I know that with Tower Junkies, that's very much a passion project podcast of mine, and I don't have as many episodes, I don't have as frequent releases on there as I would like to, but anytime I get an episode out, it just reminds me just how much I love Stephen King and all the stuff surrounding King. So I'm very, very happy. Thank you for listening and everything. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Now, you've been podcasting for over 12 years. What keeps you going?
Well, that's a great question. Yes, I have been podcasting for about 12 and a half years. And it's really just a passion for, kind of dissecting media, really. My flagship show, The Obsessive Viewer, is a movie and TV review show that, in its current, iteration is 2 movie reviews, per episode. And that's 2 new or recent release movies, and that's the driving force of it. Is I love movies and TV and Stephen King and science fiction and all of that. So, it's just a way for me to really just share my love of media, basically, and to kind of document my feelings about it and kind of create this form of just conversation around it, and kind of talking about the different things that go into it, the different meanings, the different emotions that these pieces of art elicit from us and everything. It's just something that's just a passion that I have, and I always think I wonder if I hadn't seen Scream when I was I don't know how old, 7, and instead, what if I went to a baseball game? Would I be my entire personality be baseball instead of movies? Or if I had picked up some other book rather than The Shining, would I be all about Dean Koontz? It's a weird thing, but it's just a passion that I have, and then I have the Patreon where I just basically throw up as much stuff as I can and see what sticks.
Yeah. So you never really lose steam. You just love doing it.
Oh, that's a different question. I do lose steam quite a bit. I get burnout like anyone else. I mean, if you like with Anthology, my Anthology is a different beast because that's a podcast that's just me. It's a solo podcast where I'm going through the Twilight Zone episode by episode, and that's coming from a place where I never really watched the Twilight Zone when I was a kid or anything. So I'm watching these episodes for the first time. And because it's a one-man show, I'm really digging into the details and like really like I'm watching these episodes multiple times, taking notes every time, going like scene by scene and really just kind of driving the conversation myself because there's no one else there. And as such, that's a ton of work, and that goes through a lot of dormant phases. So like currently it's been a while since I've had an Anthology show out, but I'm on season 4 of the Twilight Zone over there. So eventually I'm going to get back to it, but
Yeah.
definitely get some burnout stuff. It also helps that I'm kind of an idiot and I like to buy a lot of equipment that I don't need. So like several years ago, I upgraded a lot of the equipment as a point of needing an upgrade. And from there, it's just like, oh, okay, well, what if I get this specific microphone? What if I get this kind of microphone and see what that's all about? And then I've recently, not well, recently in the last like couple of years, I got, because the technology keeps evolving. So I got like wireless microphones for film festival stuff and interviews that I'm doing there. And then I got like these mini wireless mics that I'm like, oh, this is great for when I'm like recording a Patreon thing outside of the movie theater. And so like I have like my little like wireless microphone security blanket I take with me everywhere. So in case things in case as I like to say, in case things get a little podcasty, I'm at the ready. So yeah, so there's it's a passion project that I have across the board, and it's a blast.
I'm right there with you. I know exactly what you mean. I keep a lot of the stuff I buy, like my computer, microphone. Well, obviously microphones, but a lot of the stuff I buy that are techie are geared towards podcasts because I just love doing it. But yeah, you do run out of steam sometimes, and you got to take a break. And I've been guilty of that for sure.
Yeah. I always feel guilty. I feel guilty when I go through those like phases where I'm like, okay, well, we're coming up on the end of the month. What have I posted on Patreon lately? And it's just like it can get to me, but the benefits of it, just like being able to just have our voices out there and just share our passions is what drives me. And it's very enriching.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just absolutely love it too. Were there any podcasts that you listened to that made you say, "Man, I got to do this too"?
Oh, that is a great question. So I also listened to podcasts all the time.
Me too.
Yeah, and like you, I had a job where I wasn't working 12-hour shifts, but I was like way back in like the 2000 from 2006 to 2016. I worked as a security guard, and I've told the story a lot, but I worked as a security guard where I worked for 7 of those years were night shift. So midnight to 8, just basically sitting in a building, making sure it didn't explode or anything, having nothing to do. So like me and my best friend, we worked together. He's my co-host on Tower Junkies and
Tiny.
yeah, Tiny. He and I would just, we would spend a shift working 12 to 8, and we would listen to podcasts, we would watch movies, we would there's at least one very early episode of the Obsessive Viewer where it is actually recorded while we were working on a lot. It sounds terrible and it was dumb, but there is one out there that's like that. But yeah, so I use that time a lot to listen to podcasts. I was a big fan of like Nerdist in the early days and Doug Loves Movies. And then that gravitated over to more like comedy-minded podcasts like Comedy Bang Bang. And as far as like movie review shows and like Stephen King podcasts, like the Stephen King cast, but like not the King cast, although that came later. The Stephen King cast, I was a big fan of that as well. Another one-man show as well. And as far as movie podcasts, it's so funny because I don't really listen to as many as I should. But like I was a big fan like years ago of like the Slash Filmcast and other kind of bigger movie podcasts like that. But yeah, I dabble quite a bit in listening to podcasts when I can. But now that I have like what I call a big boy job, I don't really have the time to really listen to podcasts all that much. It's a little bit tough. So like I'll go like I'll be like, okay, well maybe I'll go get like lunch or something somewhere, and I'll be like, oh, I can go to this place that's a little farther away, so I can get like maybe 3/4 of a podcast listened to. Or if I'm going grocery shopping, I'll put in my earbuds and listen to a podcast and look like an idiot when I'm laughing or something in the middle of the cereal aisle.
You look kind of scary.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh.
Yes. Which is actually funny. I've mentioned this on my podcast before, but there was Tiny and I, when we covered the stand on Tower Junkies. I'm a big proponent of audiobooks. It's my main way that I consume books. But when we covered the stand, I remember I was listening to the audiobook while at like Walmart, and I was like doing my grocery shopping, and like, to put it into context, I was listening to it in about March of 2020. So there was a lot of, it was a weird moment because I was listening to the first like book, the first like chapter, the first like section of the stand, and as Captain Trips is going on, like around me, I'm like seeing people like hoarding toilet paper and getting a bunch of like necessities and stuff because everything's shutting down because of COVID. And I'm like, this is such a surreal moment in my life. And
yeah,
I'm glad that Stephen King is a part of it.
That was a surreal time in life. I remember being at the grocery store when all the toilet paper in the aisle was empty. And it wasn't just that, like there was shoulder to shoulder people trying to just get to purchase their groceries in the lines, right? And
Yeah.
it was just like looking around, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was so scary and bizarre and just, oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have one of those jobs now where I can listen to podcasts while I work.
Nice.
We're allowed to listen to like one ear in and keep the other one free as we go. And so I get like a lot of stuff. And as you mentioned, audiobooks. I actually have a comment later down. I call you an audiobook brother.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
Now, yeah, you started Tower Junkies in 2017. And I love the story as to why this podcast came about, because it was a reaction to the Dark Tower movie that was released in the same year.
Yeah, it was the one good thing to come out of that movie, I would say. Basically with Obsessive Viewer, Tiny and I, anytime there was any scrap of movement about the Dark Tower adaptation, like we would allocate like 10-20 minutes of just the Obsessive Viewer talking about it, like, oh, we think we might be getting a trailer at this point, or okay, well, they just moved the release date from January to August, and we were making so many not excuses, but we were trying to put such a positive spin on all of the bad things, like all of the things that were earmarking us to be like this is not going to be a good experience. We were trying to look on the bright side so hard at every turn. So like, oh yeah, it's not going to release in January, so that'll be good because it'll be in August when it's the closing weeks of summer and people are going to like really get into it because they're going to be like really excited about that, and it's not going to be lost in January, or it's okay that it's only 88 minutes long, like it's fine. I actually think it was like 85 minutes.
The Dark Tower compressed.
Yes.
90 minutes.
God. Yeah. the dark, like mini fridge instead of a tower. But so we had like so many like hours of audio. And so basically when we saw the Dark Tower, and like we went, like we did a whole, like he and I, we wore Dark Tower t-shirts. We saw it like opening night at a movie theater nearby, and we did like a afterwards. I don't know if I can dig it up somewhere at some point, but we did a like Facebook Live immediate out of the theater thing, and you can hear, I think I actually put that audio into the podcast anyway, but you can hear like us trying to think of positive things to say. Yeah. It's kind of amazing, but so after that, it was like, okay, well, yeah, we're going to review this on Obsessive Viewer, and like we were reviewing it, and then I was talking about it on like Patreon, I think, or somewhere. I was talking about it, and like it turned out that like I had friends who wanted to talk about it too, so I was like, yeah, we can do like another episode this way. But I was like, we have like 5 hours of audio about this movie. We spent maybe more time than some people did actually making it. Talking about this movie. Should we just do a Dark Tower podcast? And to my surprise, Tiny was like, yeah, I'd totally be down for that. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then so we started it, and then eventually it was like, well, we should just make it a blanket Stephen King podcast. And that's where we're at now.
How would you guys, because you're on hiatus right now.
Yes.
But I'm going to go to this one question first that just popped in my mind. How did you guys come up with content? Because when you guys first started it, it was meant to be like all Tower stuff, but then you just kind of branched out into all Stephen King.
Yes.
So how would you approach an episode?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because I noticed how limiting it was to be a Dark Tower podcast, like right at the outset, basically. And I think if I remember correctly, I don't remember which, maybe it was Sleeping Beauties. I'm not sure. Whatever book was coming out around that time, it was like in the back of my mind, I was like, well, I feel like we're going to feel a little left out because everyone's going to be talking about this book, and we're talking about like, Oi. And like, so that kind of created this thing in me where it was like, yeah, we should kind of, we're not going to move away from the Tower per se, but we are going to just do like Stephen King, like overall stuff, just because our love is for Stephen King and the Dark Tower. And it just felt like if we wanted to do like an offshoot of like, if it was a case where Stephen King had like a small amount of content that wasn't Tower related, then yeah, we would still do Dark Tower and then just do like the odd episode that's like, oh, hey, here's an episode about this book. But Stephen King is prolific. He contains multitudes. So,
absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah. So how's Tiny doing?
Oh, he's doing great. And that's one of the things that like, I feel kind of bad that we're on a bit of a hiatus with that, and he's on a bit of a hiatus from Obsessive Viewer as well. But it's all good things. Like he's doing great. He and his wife had their baby last year, and she's thriving. She had her first birthday over the summer, and it was she's adorable. I'm so beyond thrilled for them. And then I'll break this news here. Like it's not breaking news or anything, but they're in the process of getting a new house, and like he just messaged me this morning and was like, yeah, we just closed on the house and everything. And I was like, that is so awesome. And like I kept thinking like their daughter is gonna like, it's gonna blow her mind, like just to be in a new place. I'm just very curious about that.
Absolutely. But that's great. That's great news.
Yeah. So I'll send him. It's funny because with Obsessive Viewer, I'm also a part of the Indiana Film Journalists Association, which is a group of Indiana-based film critics, and because of that, I get a lot of like screening invites and things. And so I'll like send, if I get an invite to like a press screening of something that's coming up, I'll send Tiny a screenshot and say like, hey, do you want to be my +1 and we can review it on Obsessive Viewer? And like we got one or a couple of them last week, and I was like sending him screenshots. I was like, hey, I know that you're in the middle of buying a house and you have all of this stuff going on. So I know that this is probably going to be a no, but I'm still going to be bothering you about this stuff. Any interest in going? And he's like, no, I'm good. Thank you though. But no, he's doing great.
Yeah. But are there plans for Tower Junkies to come back?
Yes, there are always plans. Yes, there absolutely. So, and I'll have like critic friends of mine like reach out and be like, hey, are you going to be like a friend of mine reached out and was like, hey, are you going to be covering or reviewing The Long Walk, the movie? And like that's always kind of a struggle with me because I'm like, do I do like an Obsessive Viewer episode of a Stephen King movie, or do I just do a Tower Junkies and like that's all in my head? But I was like, yeah, you know, I'll probably do a Tower Junkies episode about it if you want to guest on it. And then he's like, yeah, absolutely. And so I'm like, well, crap. Okay. I need to read the book because that's also how my brain works. So then I finally am in the process. I don't know when you're posting this, but I'm in the process of doing my Long Walk Patreon project, which I'm very excited about. And I'm very happy with, as exhausting as it is. But yeah. So there are plans to cover The Long Walk. Another friend of mine wants to do The Talisman and Black House, two that I have never read either. I actually need to reach out to him to see what his schedule's like, because we were talking about doing that at the beginning of October, but I have not started The Talisman, and I don't know if he has either.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are plans. There are always plans. That, as I like to say, as morbid as it might sound, as long as I'm still breathing, my podcasts are still alive. Like, they're not gonna go dark. It might be a year or so in like Anthology's case, but I'm always kicking myself about dormant phases of the podcast.
Yeah, me too. I know what you're going through with that because I have two podcasts, and sometimes they cross over because they're both basically horror based. I mean, Stephen King can be, not horror, but the other podcast definitely horror, and it's more indie author type stuff. Nice. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh yeah.
Now, recently, just to cover some news here, Stephen King was quoted saying that he had one more book in him for sure, but after that, we'll have to see. Now, this fills me with some contradicting emotions. The best way I can put it into words is that it saddens me, but it also makes me feel proud to be a constant reader. Did you hear this quote, and how did you react?
I did not. So you are hearing my immediate, my honest reaction.
Oh no!
It's.
I hate to be the deliverer of bad news.
It's okay. Honestly, I'm not really upset by it by any stretch. I would love for him to keep writing as long as I want him. I'm sure that he adopts the same philosophy with writing as I do with podcasting. As long as I'm breathing, they're still there. But when it comes down to it, the fact is that, anyone who read On Writing and read the very vivid descriptions of his accident knows that there is, and also his struggle with sobriety and everything. Like, I feel like we should all kind of know that every book we get from him is a gift. Like, every book after 2000 is an absolute gift. And just in the fact that he's gotten so many books published and has released so many things that are some of the best he's written has been written post-accident. He's still incredibly sharp. That makes me not upset or anything at the thought of him not writing anymore. But I'm the other very selfish part of me is yeah, but keep writing, buddy. Keep going. It's okay.
I don't think he's saying that he's going to stop because he went on to say in that interview that he's starting to notice some cognitive decline. Like he can't remember words as well as he used to, names of characters. Sometimes, he doesn't know or remember where he was. And so he's like, there's definitely one book left, but after that, it might be, a little. So I'm hoping that's what he means. But if the man needs to stop, then for his health or whatever, then I'm fully behind it.
Oh, absolutely. And if it takes him, if it's like just the sheer fact that he's still at, like, he just turned 78.
Yeah.
He's still been able to release a book a year. Like that is astonishing.
It's rare.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not too many authors can do that.
No, not at all. And if he sees his abilities kind of declining a little bit, and that means maybe we get a book every couple of years, that I'm fine with that.
Fine with that too.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm like, that's one of the not to get morbid or anything. That's one of the I'm dreading the day.
Yeah.
The news hits because I can't. That's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And hard.
Yep.
Yeah. So with that somber note, we should move on to the Stephen King grill.
Yeah.
All right. So I already know your origin story, but people listening to this episode might not. So what is your Stephen King origin story?
Sure. So when I was a kid, I read a lot of books. I read a lot. I was one of those like nerdy kids who didn't really, I guess nerdy, but I was more like introverted and anxious and everything. So instead of like destroying my self-esteem socializing with other kids, I would read a lot. And that was like a nice little safe space for me. So when I was in elementary school, like Goosebumps was it. Like it was the 90s. I was devouring Goosebump books, getting like the Scholastic Book Fair at school, like getting the little paper thing, ordering the next month's Goosebumps from there, and then reading it in the car with my mom when she was running errands and stuff. And then when I got older, my kind of origin with Stephen King is like, I don't know that there is like a one point thing that really like attracted me to him, because like there are like little bits and pieces here. Like before I even read any Stephen King, like I would go to the library and like look at books, and go to like Barnes and Noble and look at books, and then I would like look at Stephen King books and think like, oh man, he has a lot of like really interesting stuff. Like this one's about vampires. Maybe I'll read this someday. But eventually I did read The Shining, and this was when I was maybe in early high school, I think, or maybe junior high. I can't really remember, but I remember it being like the middle of the day, and I was reading it, and I remember like my parents came home or something. I was in the living room, just on the recliner, sun coming in through the windows, not a horror environment whatsoever, and I was so wrapped up into it that like I jumped out of my skin when my parents walked through the door because I was so wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of kickstarted my love of Stephen King. And like I even remember like the call back to Tiny, when we were in like junior high, and we would have like sleepovers and stuff, and I would go over to his house, and like we'd like watch movies and stuff. I saw a lot of the Stephen King books that his parents collected, and I would kind of thumb through them and everything. So nice. Stephen King was always like around me, and then I grabbed one and then never looked back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, as I mentioned, you're a brother of the audiobook. Yes. You listen to a lot of audiobooks, and so do I. How do you, like, when you got to read Night Shift, how do you do that? Because there's no official Night Shift audiobook. I find I have to bounce around between these tiny little extra collections on Audible or whatnot.
That is, yes, it is so frustrating because here's like with Night Shift, it is one of my favorite Stephen King collections because it is so raw. It is just so like there's such a punch to it. There's such an edge to it. As I often say, like you can tell he's writing to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And it's just has this energy to it. And it's a little frustrating that like we don't have, like, I wish that they would like do like a big like Night Shift audiobook re-release or something, because like we get like fragments of like books on tape or from like in the 70s and early 80s. Having said that, I did resort to a little bit of piracy to find like a Night Shift audiobook so that I could listen to it. Yeah, but everything else I buy on Audible and everything, and I use the Libby app for the library and everything. But it is kind of tough to find like those early ones like that.
Yeah, because I kind of rely on the audiobook to reread things. And this one is kind of hard. Like they have the Lawnmower Man. It's like a collection of 4 short stories by or from Night Shift.
Yeah,
and they're not even time stamped. You have to go searching for them.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
which is fine. But geez, it's like from the 80s or something.
Yep. And I remember like the Mangler is like at least several of these audiobook versions of it like have like very, very loud music that's scored to it. And like that's a big pet peeve of mine. And it's Me like too. it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
Actually, this story that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes, sometimes they come back, is on that Lawnmower Man collection, and they have the music. So anytime something spooky or serious happens, the scary music kicks in.
Yep.
And it just doesn't work.
No. I do give it a little bit of credit for utilizing some of like the train of sound effect noises in it.
Yeah.
It creates a little bit of an immersive experience, but it's also like that's one of my big, like I said, the big pet peeve for audiobooks is having those like enhanced things where they're adding effects to it and stuff, because that shouldn't be necessary. Like the writing is strong enough. Like you don't need to have like a big theatrical thing with it.
Yeah. It's like they're trying to turning it into a movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
I don't know if you ever listened to Star Wars audiobooks, but they're filled with that. They sound like Star Wars movies.
Yeah. I tried once, I think one of the, I can't remember what his name is. Wendig? Chuck Wendig, I think.
Like Afterlife or something like that.
Yeah. I tried listening to that and I was like, I can't do this. Also, I think he writes like in present tense, which is kind of distracting to me, at least in the one I listened to. But yeah. The other, like when trying to listen to Dune, that was a struggle too, because the audiobook is like it's like a radio play instead of like an audiobook. Yeah, and like that was another one where I had to find like the actual audiobook under other means, because I was so frustrated because I was listening to it and it was like, okay, I can be okay with different actors performing the dialogue of the different characters, fine. But when it becomes like a radio play where it's just them doing the performances, like I like it really bothered me, because it's like I'm not listening to the story. I'm listening to a telling of the story. I'm listening to an adaptation of it. So like I'm not hearing or quote unquote reading the descriptors. I'm not reading the like what Frank Herbert wanted as far as like the descriptors of the scene and the scenery and everything. And that was like, oh, okay. That like made me actually angry.
Yeah, it would me too.
Yeah.
Do you know if they have the actual audiobook for that out yet, since all the movie success in that?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like they should. I would hope so.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that they do. Last I checked, at least. But I was able to find earlier ones where it was okay.
That's good. Yeah. Now, going back to Stephen King here,
Yes.
and the sort of basis of what this podcast is based on, although having done about 10 or 11 episodes now, we talk mostly Stephen King and then add a short story to the end of it.
Sure.
But since the basic concept is short stories and novellas, do you have a favorite short story or novella by King?
Ooh, oh yes. So let me see, because I have like a running list in of like my favorite novellas, my favorite novels, my favorite adaptations, all of that. I will say it's very much a thing where I'm it's in flux at all times. Like, it's depending on my mood. Like, my favorite Stephen King book is 11/22/63, but also Wolves of the Kala or The Dark Tower 7. Um, so it's always kind of an ever evolving thing. But as far as a favorite short story, oh geez, I will tell you this: one of my favorite novellas is The Life of Chuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that just tore me apart in the best way, and it's such a great, just life affirming thing. And I was ecstatic when I knew that Mike Flanagan was gonna adapt it. And honestly, that's like my favorite, one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations, and it's my favorite movie of the year so far.
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, it's so good.
I've read it and listened to it at least 3 times, and then I went to see it at the theater when it came out, and oh man, I had tears in my eyes at some point.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And not to timestamp when this is, but it's going to be in theaters again for one day only on October 1st, but I don't think it's going to be at any of the theaters around me.
Yeah, not me either, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm in Canada, so I think it's only America.
Oh, yeah. But it's funny because I just pulled up my list. For some reason, I have The Life of Chuck under novellas. I have The Life of Chuck at number 6. So that should tell you how many just like 5-star works he has. But again, that's always in flux. But one of my favorites is The Mist. Another one that I love, the novella, and I love the movie. And The Langoliers is up there too, as far as novellas go. Just because it's so fun to see the cross section of some of my favorite things. So Stephen King crossing with like the Twilight Zone, that's 100% my jam. It's incredible. And so that really spoke to me. As far as short stories, my top 3, number 3 is Sometimes They Come Back. And number 2 is The Jaunt, which is just, again, another, kind of sci-fi minded one, but it's such a roller coaster. It's such a ride. And then the number 1 on this list, at least, and obviously it's always in flux, but Survivor Type.
Survivor
just
Type.
Such a wild story. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that story is brutal.
It really is. And it's so funny to read it, because like the first time I read it, I was like, oh, I wonder what is he going to do here? Oh, okay, but he's doing this. Oh, he's doing this. Oh, okay. What is going on here? It's like one of those like evolving things where I'm just like, whew, that is quite a bit. That's quite a bit, King.
Yeah. I love that story.
Yeah.
So those are great choices.
Thank you. Now,
as we kind of mentioned earlier, that he doesn't just write horror, but he's tagged with that, which is unfortunate because I think if you took all of his work, most of his stories aren't horror.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, a good majority. It'd be close to half, but yeah. Anyways, so because he writes in many genres, is there a type of story you would like to see him write or come out of, the writer's trunk that he hasn't yet
Oh,
touched?
that's a really good question. Off the top of my head, I feel like I have an answer, but I don't know what it is. But because like my immediate thought is like, oh, it would be so cool to see like a really good detective story from King. Oh, we've got that.
Yeah.
It would be really cool to see a time travel story. Oh, that's like the best book I've ever read in my life. It's really ooh, that is a tough call. I I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I always go with he's done space horror, but only in short stories. I would love to see a full-length novel of space horror, honestly.
That's not a bad idea. Okay. Yeah, because my kind of thing with that is that he's when he has gone into sci-fi realms in long form. So I'm thinking notably the Tommyknockers and Dreamcatcher. When he goes into these alien sort of invasions type of stories, those are also two of like my least favorite King books.
Yeah.
Which
you got a point there, yeah.
Yeah. And so I would love to see him do something that would kind of redeem that a little bit. I mean, he did that a little bit with Under the Dome, but that's more, about the town, which Under the Dome is one of my favorites also. But yeah, I would like to see him do like a Stephen King doing like a space opera would be really interesting.
Oh, that would be really interesting. Yeah. Especially the way he does characters.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. So moving on to adaptations, do you have a favorite Stephen King a director?
Oh, yes. So if you were to ask me 10 years ago, it would obviously be Frank Darabont, but Mike Flanagan has taken the crown. Like,
absolutely.
That guy. I mean, it is astonishing to me. Like the thing with Mike Flanagan's Stephen King adaptations is like he is able to do the impossible, like Gerald's Game.
Yeah.
Nearly unfilmable. Life of Chuck. Yeah. Very high concept. I've often said this. Dr. Sleep is a freaking magic trick. Like the way that he's able to bring together the stuff, the differences between the Shining book and the Shining movie, and bring those together in a way and pay homage to each one in different ways while also adapting the Dr. Sleep novel. Like it is insane. It is insane that he was able to pull that off, and he did. But yeah, it's one of those things where Mike Flanagan is the constant reader filmmaker of Stephen King adaptations. He's someone who's clearly grown up with King fiction. He's someone who, like, whenever because I'm such a dork with like movies and stuff, I love movies and TV, and any kind of storytelling really. When I'm reading a book or when I'm listening to a book or when I'm like whatever, I'm thinking like, oh, how would this be adapted to film? How would this be like adapted into a movie? Because it is a very different skill set. It's a different medium. It's a different storytelling medium. And beat for beat, hit for hit, every time Mike Flanagan's able to adapt a King property, it's like I'm watching the movie in my head to come to life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And like as terrible as the world can be, as scary as the world can be these days, and as horrifying as the future might be, one of the biggest things, sources of happiness in my life is just knowing just knowing that Mike Flanagan has the rights to the Dark Tower.
Yeah. I knew you were going there.
Yeah. I like that alone just puts a smile on my face, because I've also said this several times before to anyone who will listen. If there is one person on this planet who can adapt the Dark Tower series and will do so in a way that honors it and is capable of getting a project of that stature off the ground, it's Mike Flanagan. Like when people say like, oh yeah, Mike Flanagan has the rights to the Dark Tower. Like obviously it's not like greenlit or anything exactly. I'm like, yeah, I know that there's a chance that it could be like his adaptation of Revival, which that, never happened. But feeling like I know the kind of person Mike Flanagan is in regards to the Dark Tower and Stephen King and everything, I have full faith that there's going to be, like, if it doesn't come to pass, if it's something that doesn't actually happen, that is not going to be due to anything that Mike Flanagan has control over. Like, he is going to do everything in his power to get this project off and running, because he is the person to do it.
Yeah. So the good news is he's on the Kingcast here and there, and every time he's on, they're like, "What's going on? We haven't heard anything."
Yeah.
And Mike Flanagan always says, it keeps moving forward. So I mean, he says pre-production is a long process, and for something as big as the Dark Tower, it's going to take forever. So let's hope it just keeps going and going until we get something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Now, speaking of adaptations, have you seen the adaptation for Sometimes They Come Back?
I have, and it's quite solid. I would say that I don't know if I did or not. I feel like I was supposed to write an article about it on a friend's website. I don't know if I ever did. But anyway, I'm like trying to discreetly look to see. But anyway, for as far as adaptations are concerned with Stephen King's work, like those like 80s, 90s adaptations are very much a crapshoot. It's kind of tough to kind of gauge the quality of them. And in that context, I think Sometimes They Come Back as an adaptation is very, very solid. It's really good. I kind of wish they would have went a little further, but I understand that, limitations and everything, you really can't. But yeah, I like it quite a bit. And I did not write an essay about it, but I did to plug the work of some critics friends of mine at MidwestFilmJournal.com. I wrote essays on the Dark Half adaptation and The Mist. So
very cool.
Yeah.
I saw that adaptation, but it was decades ago. I don't really remember. I wanted to watch it for this episode, but it just never happened. But I still may watch it again because I remember it being okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't terrible.
Yeah, and I always kind of wanted to revisit, or not revisit, because I've never seen the sequels or whatever, because it spawned like Sometimes They Come Back again.
Yeah.
And,
I haven't seen those, but they don't look good.
No, they don't. I'm kind of not very interested in seeing those, but I think there's like 3 of them, and I don't remember what the like third one's called, but I just imagine.
Yeah, I can't remember it either, but
yeah, given the title structure of the sequels, I just want it to be something like, okay, that's what it is. I wanted it to be like, are you freaking serious? They're coming back again? But it's actually Sometimes They Come Back for more.
For more, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the adaptation I thought was pretty good. Tim Matheson was good in it.
They need to have Sometimes They Come Back in space.
Yes. Oh yeah. I like the tagline. I'm looking it up on Letterboxd now. The tagline for Sometimes They Come Back is, "With The Shining and Misery, Stephen King scared you to death. Now he's going to scare you back to life." Like it's. I feel like it's intentionally like trying to evoke those memories of the quality Stephen King adaptations,
Yeah.
or the more mainstream ones. But yeah, I mean, I rated it three stars out of 5, and I've watched it a couple of times. So
Not too bad.
yeah, I like it.
All right, so I think we're moving into the Sometimes They Come Back discussion now.
Yes.
And so, to the listener, as I mentioned at the beginning, we will be spoiling this story. It's fairly short. I think it's only about 45 pages, something like that, in the paperback. So you could come read it and come back and listen to this episode, or you can just listen to us talk about it. It's a short story after all, but there's some interesting things in this one that kind of keep you surprised as you go, so it might be beneficial to read the story first. The synopsis of the story, it follows Jim Norman, a school teacher haunted by traumatic childhood event. As a boy in 1957, Jim witnessed his older brother, Wayne, die. I'm going to leave it at that because I accidentally wrote one of the spoilers in the description here. Years later, while teaching, Jim is disturbed when several of his students, die in violent accidents, and they're replaced by the greasers who bullied him and his brother when they were kids. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's a really fun story. The publication history here is, this is the first one that, oh no, it's the next story that we're going to be discussing. This one appeared in March 1974 of Cavalier magazine. And it, of course, was collected in Stephen King's Night Shift from 1978. And as we just talked about, it was adapted into the 1991 movie of the same name. So... So we already discussed my first question. You did not see the sequels, but they look. I don't know. I might have to dive in one day just to see. I mean, maybe they could be good. I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible in the world of King.
Yeah. Now, this isn't the first time you've discussed Sometimes They Come Back. You've discussed it, I believe, in Tower Junkies. What is it about this story that you enjoy talking about?
So I love this story because of it having a lot of like hallmarks of really good Stephen King storytelling. Like the things that work really well in his work is the characterization, in the way that this is, even though it's a short story, it really dives into like what you would call maybe tropes of King, like, you know, a teacher who has hidden trauma and everything. But what I really find fascinating about it is the way that this is this really like intense depiction of someone who's trying to escape past trauma, or trying to move on from the traumatic experience of watching his brother get killed when he was a kid, and having that be basically play out through the form of the tormentors who killed his brother resurfacing and replacing his students in his class. It's really, really haunting and really satisfying as this just like, it's not even one of those stories that is where it's like, oh, he's questioning his reality or he's questioning his sanity. It's like, no, this is just like, this is really happening. These kids are dying and they're being replaced by these kids that are like from his past. Like these are
like ghosts.
Yeah, the ghost story of it all is just so chilling and disturbing. And the way that it kind of all ends up is this, like, as dark and gritty and crazy as it is. Like I said before, this is King writing to put food on the table. It still has this like somewhat like not even necessarily uplifting ending, but this like, oh, I've conquered evil, or I've conquered this trauma and everything, but oh no, it's gonna live with me forever. Like it's just like it's gonna come back. Like it's not. It's a weirdly optimistic and nihilistic story. Like it contradicts itself in the best way. I really love it.
Yeah. I also like, because Stephen King's earlier short stories were tight to fit a word count limit. And this story is interesting because King uses the tight language, but he makes great use, or he also makes great use of limiting his words for the story, yet he is still able to hold back secrets, such as what actually happened to his brother, and he reveals it slowly throughout the story. That's one thing I loved about it, because the first time we're confronted with the idea that his brother died, he says he died in an auto accident or something like that. But then it comes out that no, that didn't happen. He was stabbed to death by these bullies. Now, was that scene shocking to you? Because it was to me.
I don't know if I would say it necessarily shocked me, but it did drive home this very like inner struggle that Jim Norman had. Like he has been carrying this through his entire life. Like he's not getting past it by he's not getting past it by being open about it, or he's not letting people into he's not confiding in people about his trauma. He's kind of just an island unto himself with dealing with it, and the kind of adverse effect of that is that he's carried that with him, and it's gotten to a point where other people are harmed by it. It's this really, like, my read of it is it's an interesting like metaphor for just like internalizing trauma and not like confronting it, and how it can just destroy things around you. So it didn't really shock me, but it didn't shock me, but it is shocking.
Yeah. I found it shocking because really, like, just imagine seeing your brother be brutally murdered in that way.
Oh, yes.
That would be awful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And like, that's another thing I really love about it, is that it's not like it's not like he's been saying like, oh, you know, he died of an illness. Oh, but he actually died in this horrific car accident or something. Or even like he died because of me for some reason. It's not like that kind of like concealed trauma. It's like, no, he died in this incredibly like traumatizing, violent way that I was a witness to. And that's why I have trouble like opening up about it, because I've been carrying it with me. It's just like, it's King encountering a case where he can do something that's kind of just like, you know, pretty straightforward, but he goes for the jugular with it. He goes for it like, okay, I'm going to go as like raw as I can with this. I'm going to do this as intensely as I can, and that's going to carry through the story. Yeah. And there's like, it kind of vaguely reminds me, and I haven't read this in a while, I'm not going to spoil anything obviously, but somewhat kind of similar to some of the stuff that happens in The Library Policeman.
Interesting. I haven't read that one yet.
Oh, okay. It's a doozy. It is a doozy.
I've heard. Yeah. I've heard. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking King must have had some serious problem with greasers himself while growing up, because he seems to really hate them. They are often his most vile villains.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of some of the greasers that populate it, like Henry Bauer and Patrick Hochstetter. And I think mostly of Hochstetter because he was so bent on violence and cruelty, you can easily picture him coming back from the grave to finish the violence he started while alive.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That is an interesting like running thread in a lot of his stuff. Yeah.
I can only imagine the confusion though of Jim Norman when he sees these people come back. That would kind of make me feel sick to my stomach, not just because I'm seeing these people who did terrible things to me, but because they shouldn't be here, not as teenagers, especially since when he goes and looks them up, he finds that they've passed on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where there's a scene where I don't remember which one it is, but he is kind of confronting one of them after class, and it's when the greaser is telling him, I think it might be Vinny, but or Corey, but it's when he basically threatens Jim's wife, and he's like, something could happen and everything. He's like goading him, and I'm like thinking, as I'm like reading it and listening to it, I'm like, oh my god, like this isn't even a case where Jim Norman is like trying to like figure out if this is real or not. This is just like outright like aggression toward him, and it's like not even a thing where because it's a short story, he's not like wrestling with the reality of it. And I'm just thinking like in that moment I was like, man, just punch him in the face, man. Do something.
Yeah.
It's like, that's over the line. I'm like, well, wait, that's a student. But then wait, no, not really. And then like I go down a rabbit hole where I'm like, well, I mean, the administration or like the school system has his paperwork and stuff. So like he is like an actual student, so he can't really physically harm him or anything. But yeah, that's just a spiral that I went down. But yeah, I really like just how kind of just I guess audacious the kids are, like how they're there solely to further traumatize Jim, and it's really nerve wracking.
I mean, they're so hell bent on coming at you. It's like, what's your problem, man?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, what's your problem? You already killed my brother. I didn't do anything to like. You got away with it. You ended up dying, not at my hand or anything. Like, just leave me alone.
Yeah, really, right? I think it kind of shows the cycle of abuse, though. How the abuse doesn't really die until you confront it.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to get a little evil to confront it. Well, we'll get to that in a second, but I want to move into the setting because the setting of the story, the high school, is an interesting setting because I have a quote here from the story. Do you mind if I read it?
Go right ahead.
Okay. But after the kids were gone, something old and brooding seemed to settle over the halls and whisper in the empty rooms. Some black, noxious beast, never quite in view. Sometimes, as he walked down the Wing 4 corridor toward the parking lot with his new briefcase in one hand, Jim Norman thought he could hear, or almost hear, it breathing. And that's cool, because I can imagine schools being spooky at night.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Like that. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of I'm kind of partial to not to get too much into like the adaptation or anything, but I'm kind of partial to those like the good, or on the better side of it, the good side of like early 90s, late 80s, early 90s Stephen King adaptations that are like TV movies like this. It has like this glow to it, this kind of like, I associate it with like autumn and like just like spooky season, like October time, and like there's just this palpable energy to it, like movies like this, and even like Children of the Corn, it has like this just really like autumnal energy to it for me. And like I remember I think Cujo's another one that's kind of like that, but like I vaguely remember, since this takes place during the school year, I feel like the movie is very much like trying to capture that kind of fall small town atmosphere.
Right. It does. It just doesn't have pumpkins in it or costumes, but it could easily put that in there.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
So I definitely like the atmosphere.
Yeah. Me too. Now we're gonna get to the end here of the story. So this is the big part, and it was kind of connected to that quote about the school, because Jim resorts to black magic to fight back. And I have to wonder, because it just kind of comes out of nowhere. He didn't
Mhm.
research it, or did I miss that somehow?
He did, but I feel like King was really concealing that from us. Like, he, throughout the story, like around the halfway point, there are like references here and there where like, oh, Sally started talking to him, and then Jim put down his like Raising Demons book. Like, he references like the Raising
You're
Demons
right.
book like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And like, what I like about that is like, we don't know why he's reading it. Like, we know why he's reading it, but we don't know why he's reading it.
Yeah, it didn't click for me. That's
Yeah.
amazing though. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you got to admit, it just kind of pops up there. He's starting to.
Oh
He
yeah.
goes into class at night and he starts drawing pentagrams. He contacts the kids. He's like, "You're going to come to the school. We're going to settle this."
Yep.
And he summons a demon.
Yep. And that's the thing that I really like about it in terms of concealing that the climax of the story. If I were to give a little bit of a note to Mr. King,
just a tiny little note.
A tiny little note. I do feel like this is a story that is that I could see in like a different timeline, a different like floor of the tower, a different level of the tower. I could see this being like a full novel and like really going into the history of his experience, his childhood and everything, and also like really fleshing that out, because in the short story version, his wife is killed and it's very like kind of glossed over a little bit, and it's an effective gut punch, but it also feels like, okay, I kind of wish we would have had more time to kind of process that. But to have the ending be him summoning a demon so that he can basically make a deal with the demon to take care of the greasers, that, like, I really like how King was able to conceal that from us. It's not like, for instance, like The Mangler, which is another one of my favorites, where it's like going by the process of exorcising a demon from a laundromat piece of machinery.
Yeah, The Mangler.
Instead of like going through the process of like him studying and figuring out like how to do this and that, it's like we're left in the dark about that, so that we're led to believe like, oh, he's going to basically send them to hell or whatever. But it's really like, oh no, he's summoning a demon. He's sacrificing his index fingers as a blood sacrifice so that they can take out this demon, or take out, so the demon can take the image of his dead brother to basically vanquish these ghosts. It's like, it's wild. It's so wild. And I love it because it is the kind of storytelling that King is really good at, in that he is able to create these characters that we get really invested in, because he is so good at creating these well-rounded characters and these well-rounded like three-dimensional characters with their backstories and everything, and then he's able to put them really through the ringer. It kind of reminds me a little bit on some levels to Misery, where my favorite thing about Misery is that it's, deep down, that book is about an artist who is like, it is that relationship between artist and art and consumer of art. And it's like, the overall metaphor is like, he's literally like, he's losing bits and pieces of himself for his art. Like, it's just such a, I don't know. The long and short of it is, King is not afraid to mutilate his characters, and yeah. I love him for it.
I love when it's over. He looks at his fingers that he cut off, and he's like, maybe I should go to the hospital. But then he's like, nah, they'll be fine.
Yep. It's like, probably should see a doctor about it, but you know,
I'm
kind of tired.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'd definitely be hitting up the hospital. But how do you explain that? I was summoning a demon and it required some fingers.
Yeah, and like, it's great because he does have that moment where it's like he didn't really even feel like the first finger, mostly because of shock and everything. But I love that there's like that little beat piece after it where he's like, where it's like, and then he started cleaning up for the substitute tomorrow, and it's like, yeah, okay, now go to the hospital, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
absolutely. I do want to mention the wife. She is the catalyst for him to do this. That's the last straw. But I liked the wife because she was so there for him. Every time he had a nightmare, she was like, "Do you want a glass of milk?" And she seemed like a lovely person. And and it was sad that she she got it like with the students.
Absolutely. It's really heartbreaking. That's why I kind of wish we had more time with it, but I understand since it's a short story, you don't really have the time to allocate to her. But like, even the opening of the story, where it's from her perspective and she's waiting for him to come home, she's like made dinner and everything. It's obviously it's very domesticated and everything, but it's
I mean, it's a little old fashioned, but
yeah, but King is old fashioned.
Yeah.
But I love that because it's also just like this really good layered thing that's kind of a little similar to The Shining in some respects, but like she's waiting for him and she's like, she's for the first moment when he comes home, she starts to wonder like, oh, are we going to be celebrating tonight or not? And it's because she has full faith that he got the job and everything, but then that kind of hints at the fact that like he had like a kind of a breakdown before. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like she has that like flash of doubt where it's like, okay, am I going to be in for a rough night of consoling him, or are we going to be heading toward another breakdown, or are we celebrating good news and he got the job and we're still doing good? So yeah, again, that could be me reaching, but I do like that we get her perspective. Nice.
Yeah. I think it was kind of briefly, it may not have said it outright, but it's definitely hinted at that he went through some problem times mentally.
Oh yeah.
And that he was just climbing out of it now. Yeah, and that getting that new job is like part of that process.
Oh, absolutely. Like the whole interview thing that we get, again, very, very similar to The Shining.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Except this, like, he's not Jack Torrance. He's maybe a better person than Jack Torrance is.
Oh, yeah. I would think so. But it's really interesting because in that interview, when he does give, we do get a little bit of backstory, but it's only like very brief, and it's from his perspective as he's telling potential future employers. So we don't know how unreliable a narrator he is in that. So like he's saying like, yeah, my mother passed away or like I had some family stuff and everything. And I kind of did have a little bit of a nervous breakdown, but I had a lot of stuff going on, but now it's a fresh start and everything. And like his inner monologue is like, I think it hints at him saying like, well, I didn't tell him the whole truth, but I got by.
I left some
it's
stuff
just
out.
Like, yeah, it's just like, oh man, like it makes you just so invested in him and wanting to know more. And we never really get the details, but it's another instance on a smaller scale of him just kind of holding back like his like whatever traumatic past or any kind of adverse things that he experienced and putting on like a happier side or a brighter side in order to get his what he needs or what he wants. It's really good like authentic characterization. Like it's something that is, dare I say, a little relatable. Like it's interesting to see the self-editing that the character does.
Yeah. All right, so what are your final thoughts on Sometimes They Come Back? Now, I know one of the questions I had was, where does it rank in your Stephen King short stories? But you answered that. It's yes. Third. But what is your overall thoughts, and how often do you think you'll come back to this world?
So I love this short story because of the characterization, everything that we've talked about. It's very high up there, and so when it comes to this short story and Night Shift as a whole, like this is a collection that I will go back to as frequently as I can, basically. Mostly it's very short. It's on the shorter side of his works, but it's also just, again, that very raw, very like not even unproven king, but like he's very much like he's very aggressive in it. It's a very dark king. And I love like exploring that, like even like in later collections when I think it's maybe Skeleton Crew or something, when the cat story, I can't remember what the title of it is, but I don't know. Anyway, when the Cat from Hell, from Just After Sunset.
Yeah.
That was a short story that he wrote around the same time that was originally going to be in Night Shift, and wasn't like it just didn't make the cut. And then I think when he made when he collected Just After Sunset, I think that's the one where in his introduction he says like, this is all the other previously unpublished stuff and some new stuff here and everything. So this is that, and it includes like the Cat from Hell, which was supposed to be in Night Shift. And it's so funny because to read that in Just After Sunset, which came out I think like 2001 or something, you can just tell like that change and like how he wrote in between decades, basically. It's really, really good. So Night Shift as a whole has a very big soft spot for me. In like us talking about it, talking about Sometimes I Come Back, like, and it's fall time, like we're in spooky season. I'm like thinking like maybe I'll rewatch the movie and finally see the sequels, see what that's all about. Yeah. So yeah, it's one that I'm always ready to return to. And I very much appreciate you giving me the reason to revisit it once again.
Yeah, no problem. And that's very interesting about Just After Sunset. I've read a lot of those short stories, but I haven't read the collection itself yet as a whole. So I never read the short story notes for that. But that's going to come as this podcast goes. That's part of the reason why I started this, because I'm pretty far behind on the novellas and the short stories. I've read the first two collections, but after that, it's kind of sparse. I used to buy those books by Stephen King when he released a collection, and I'd only read like a handful of short stories, and then I'd move on to one of his novels. And so I love his short stories. I love how different they are from his novels. And so
me too.
That was part of the reason why I started this, because I just want to tackle that area and and get it all out there, right? So yeah.
Nice.
All right, so I want to thank you so much for coming on and chatting some Stephen King with me, Matt.
Of course, thank you so much.
We're going to be seeing you again very shortly. In fact, people who watch the video version are going to be seeing us wearing the same clothes.
Yes.
So before we go, where can people find you online?
Sure. So you can follow me basically on all the social medias at Obsessive Viewer or at Tower Junkies Pod. I don't really check Twitter all that much or anything, but I do have my podcasts are out there, basically obsessiveviewer.com for the main movie review podcast. And then I have towerjunkiespod.com for all things Tower Junkies and Stephen King. And then anthologypod.com, which is my solo sci-fi podcast, reviewing the Twilight Zone. And I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer, where I have a ton of exclusive content, including tons of Stephen King related stuff. I also have like a special tier that's just Stephen King related content. Over there, I do a lot of book reviews and like in process reviews. Basically, I'll do like a few chapters and kind of do like read along reviews. Currently, I'm doing a project for The Long Walk where I am listening to the audiobook for The Long Walk for the first time. And I'm only listening to it while walking in different trails around where I live.
Which is brilliant. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I am doing a second walk where I record my thoughts while walking. So if you want to hear me panting and gasping for breath, it's at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. The second one was kind of wild because I wanted to do like, okay, I'm going to listen to 2 chapters and then record and then be done with that. And then I was like, I have another chapter in me. So like I ended up walking 4.5 miles, listening to 3 chapters, and then recorded for another like mile, 1.38 miles, and it's ridiculous. But I'm very excited about that. I'm also excited because tomorrow, I just found out that tomorrow, as of this recording, is like the free entry day at the national parks here where I am. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go walk a trail at one of the like parks, like one of the big parks tomorrow,
Nice.
and get in for free. So I'm looking forward to that. But all that's at patreon.com/obsessive viewer. But you can reach me on all the socials at obsessive viewer.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Matt. And
thank you, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. And we'll be talking to you again very shortly.